Amidst the chaos of everyday life, there exists a quiet force, a whisper to the soul, guiding us through our labyrinth of choice. This force has saved lives and leaves many questioning exactly what it is and where it comes from. Some ignore it, some laugh it off and attribute it to an overactive imagination. Others tie it to mere coincidence. What if I told you guys that I know a secret so powerful that if I told you it, you'd be able to see your own future? Not only would you be able to see your own future, but you'd be able to shoot fireballs from your hands that you'd be able to levitate on command. Okay, obviously I'd be lying if I told you I knew something so powerful. But regardless, let's move on to something that you might be able to relate to a little bit more intimately. Let me tell you a little story about a woman named Sam. Sam was in the middle of reading a book one day in her living room on her sofa. Of course, a romance novel. Those were her favorite. In the middle of reading, a feeling washed over her. A thought, seemingly out of nowhere, came into her mind, of her old boyfriend, Matt. Their relationship was years ago and she'd gotten past everything they had gone through, but for some reason, his name and face crossed her mind. Without thinking much of it, she went back to reading her book, when suddenly, her phone started ringing. It startled her for a moment. She collected herself and looked over to see who was calling. To her surprise, it was Matt. She let it ring and wondered what he could possibly want. When the phone stopped, she thought, how bizarre is that? I haven't thought about him in years, let alone heard from him. She brushed off the incident and continued on without giving it another thought. We've been in situations where someone called or texted us when we were thinking about them. It happens all the time to some. Actually, leave a comment down below if it's ever happened to you. I want to see for myself just how often this happens. Many would write silly little things like this off and chalk them up as mere coincidence. But what if I told you that there's more to these things than that? Well, there's not. Did you guys seriously think I was going to go all spiritual mumbo jumbo on you? No. Those are just coincidences, and you'd be helping yourself by realizing that now. That about wraps it up. Like and subscribe for more factual content that isn't misconstrued and dragged into some elongated video about baloney. Just kidding, don't leave just yet. Okay, so yeah, of course coincidences happen. And I'm not saying that every time something strange happens that it's some higher being causing it to occur, but there might be more to these instances than you might think. Let's take a moment to reflect on your own experiences. Have you ever had a gut feeling that saved you from a bad situation? Or perhaps an uncanny coincidence that led to something extraordinary? Before you start thinking I've gone full-on mystic, let's take a step back. I'm not suggesting that every strange occurrence is a sign from the cosmos, but what if we considered that sometimes there might be a little more at play than simple chance? Think about it. In a world driven by logic and science, there are still mysteries that elude explanation. These moments of synchronicity, these odd happenings, they leave us with a sense of wonder, a curiosity about the underlying threads that connect us all. Regardless of one's spiritual beliefs, I find it reasonable to consider that our gut instincts may come from a source beyond our complete comprehension. In fact, psychological literature itself says that intuition is a real thing. Many studies in psychology tell us that intuition is a very real process where the brain makes use of past experiences, along with internal signals and cues from the environment, to help us make a decision. This decision happens so quickly that it doesn't register with our conscious mind. Objective fact and script, check. Ignore that. But while you're here, actually, if you could hit the like button and subscribe, it would help out a ton. The fact of the matter is that intuition is found deep within us, no matter where you believe the source is from. Across different religions, intuition takes many forms and shapes. In Christianity, intuition is often associated with the guidance of the Holy Spirit. It's seen as a way that God can communicate with individuals, providing insight, comfort, and direction. In Judaism, intuition is sometimes linked to prophetic insight. It's considered a means through which individuals can receive divine guidance. In Buddhism, it places a significant emphasis on mindfulness and inner awareness. Intuition is seen as a result of deep introspection and insight. In Hinduism, it's often referred to as inner wisdom or inner knowing. It's seen as a reflection of the individual's connection to the divine. Religious background or not, intuition is a very real thing, and it has a lot to offer. I've experienced events in my life that I could directly connect to a dream that I had had before the occurrence, and the resemblance was uncanny. This would technically be considered clairvoyance, But it all stems from intuition nonetheless. Call me crazy, but I've had instances in my life that I really just couldn't explain. Things that were more complex than a simple phone call from someone that I was thinking about. The reason I'm saying all this isn't to sound like I'm special or different from anyone else, because I honestly don't believe that for a second. I hold the belief that each individual possesses the potential to engage in activities that diverge from the mainstream and extend beyond conventional understanding. We must reach further to awaken ourselves and break away from what we understand as the real world. Believe it or not, each of us hold the potential to grasp insights beyond the ordinary. The further we venture into the unknown, the more doors of understanding swing open. So before you dismiss these phenomena, consider that there's more to our existence than meets the eye. Dive into the unknown, and you may just... What if I told you guys that I know a secret so powerful that if I told you it, you'd be able to do something